Hello, BookTube. It's Monday, and that would ordinarily be a time when at least I would think about if I didn't do a Last Week in BookTube, where I look over some of the BookTube watching that I've done in the previous week, not all of it, but some of it, not a best of, just a sampling, talk about it a little, leave you some links. But of course, last week was different than most weeks. I had company all week long. So the days, instead of filling with writing and reading and BookTube, were filled with actually doing things with pants on out in the real world, getting in the car and driving all over the place. And when not doing that, having conversations here in the flesh. So I can't really do a Last Week in BookTube. I'm still catching up to a lot of the BookTube that I missed. So I thought instead the variation I would do today, just to keep my hand in, would be today in BookTube, and not even today in BookTube, because BookTube keeps going, and this I had to have a cutoff point. I assembled some videos that were posted today that I thought I would leave links to and talk to you a little about. All of them were interesting in one way or another, and we can start off with Kelly at Books I'm Not Reading. She had a wonderful video about a non-bookish haul. Some wonderful viewer of hers sent her a box full of goodies. Even the box was wonderful to look at. And that was interesting to see, but it really put a smile on my face, which was great because it reminds me of what kind of a community we have here. As sappy and syrupy as that sounds, we have a wonderful community here. We send things to each other all the time. And not just booktuber to booktuber. Viewers who don't have BookTube channels send plenty of stuff to everybody. It's become natural. It's become a natural reflex where a booktuber or a viewer of our little corner of BookTube will be out and about and see something, and Kelly's video proves it doesn't have to be a book, and they'll think not of themselves, but immediately of someone else. Oh, wait, so-and-so would like this. And then usually with just a tiny bit of the exchange of information, there it is. I loved it. I love being reminded of that. Of course, I get reminded of that all the time through my own channel, for which I am eternally grateful. I made mention the other day, I will make another video soon about a friend of mine who suddenly has a use for your old e-readers, and as provided that they work and that they can hold a charge. They can't be plugged into anything. And I made a mention that if you have such a thing, get in touch with me through email and send it to me, and I have a home for it. I have a use for it. And I was blown away. I am still being blown away by the generosity in response to that simple thing. So I loved seeing it on Kelly's video. Then we have Mike G's Eclectic Reads, where he offers one of the most thorough and well thought out, well spoken book reviews that I have seen on BookTube. It's called BookTube, but I think it's mainly about book conversations. Book reactions, even swapping conversations and reactions, rather than it is about a simple formal review of a book. He reviewed A Murder's Announced by Agatha Christie, and he prefaces his review by noting that he has read the room, so to speak. He has gone around and seen what people said of it, and he knows that it is widely considered by Christie readers as one of her best books, and he didn't like it all that much. Doesn't rank it as bad, but he has a lot of serious, substantive criticism of it. And he says that at the beginning of his video before he gives you the substantial criticism. And I love that feeling. I don't know about you. I think you're probably the same way. When I hear that, when somebody prefaces their discussion by saying, I love A Murder's Announced. And when somebody prefaces their discussion by saying, I didn't all that much love this, I saw a lot wrong with it, and I'm going to talk about that, I love that feeling. It doesn't make me defensive at all. Not in the slightest. I want to hear it. I want to hear if you're right or wrong. Wonderful video. Let's see here. Who else do we have here? Oh, right, that reading guy. Did a video that was extra ironic in lieu of the last few videos that he has made. A video called Am I Buying Too Many Books? In which he goes through the usual crisis that book people always have. Which is accumulating more books than you think you will ever have time to read. It's a slow-burning background crisis that all of us feel. What are these books on my shelves doing? I imagine it's worse if you go to actual retail bookstores and buy actual retail books new. Because there you're remembering the money. You might not remember the exact amount, but you know you spent money on this thing and it's sitting there. And imagine having that for 5 years, or as some of you have told me, 10 years. Some of you have told me that you have books on your shelves that you've had but have not read in 10 years. That you've been getting around to it for 10 years. I think the discussion is always fascinating. It is what leads people. It almost leads that reading guy in this video to do it live on camera. Because while he's talking about, am I getting too many books? A book actually arrives at his house unplanned. He almost is driven to the expedience that a lot of people are brought to, which is to do a book buying ban. The only way I'm going to read these things on my shelves, they seem to say, is if I stop buying any new ones. And there's another idea that he abuts against in his video, which is that you want to have a library, an ample library all around you, to answer your bookish needs. Say you're reading another book and something is mentioned, or to answer your bookish whims. Not the world's biggest fan of whims, but nevertheless, it's not exactly whim if you're watching a BookTube video and someone mentions a book and you have a copy of it or something close to it, adjacent to it. It's a subject we've all gone through. I am always talking on this channel about how I need to reduce the number of print and paper books. If print and paper books had never existed, if I had never fallen under their spell, and were simply being born today, it wouldn't be a problem because of e-reading. It wouldn't be a problem at all. But it is, definitely. So it's worthwhile to watch him agonize about it. Let's see here. Well, of course, we can't talk about today in BookTube without talking about Jack Edwards. Any day that Jack Edwards uploads a video on his main channel or on his second channel, Jack in the Books, is a day for rejoicing because he is, after all, the biggest booktuber and the internet's resident librarian. And he did a very clickbaity video. All of his videos are clickbaity. I think some of them are more heartfelt than others. The clickbaity videos that he does when he's building libraries in his home, I think that's just a source of joy. No one on the internet is a good actor at all. I wish that everybody knew that. That would do away with about 50% of the content on the internet, is if people realized you're not a good actor. So all of the first-time watching channels, they're all lying. They would all be gone. All of the minimalism channels, they're all lying. They would all be gone, etc., etc. Nevertheless, Jack Edwards tends to go for clickbaity titles because, as I have come to determine, he is book talk in human form. He is what book talk would be if it were a person. Quips, very au courant jokes, all the right pop references to bits of songs, never whole songs, just bits of songs. And how to put this? I have nothing against Jack Edwards. I like him fine. He gets thousands of people enthused about reading. That makes him a hero, in my opinion. But when you're listening to him talk about books, it's really hard to avoid the impression that, as cute and as funny as he is, he's also a nitwit. It's really hard to avoid that. I feel certain that when you watch, he did a video where he looks at a Goodreads list of the best book for each year for the last 100 years. And I feel certain that when you're watching this video, even though it's one book after another, you're going to feel your IQ lowering just a bit. He starts right out of the gate with To the Lighthouse by Virginia Woolf and calls it a banger. But I watched along. I got a belly laugh guffaw at the beginning of his video. When he didn't mean it as a joke, but I laughed probably. I had to stop the video. I was laughing so hard. Where he said, what was the word? I try to read from as many different eras as possible. See, I'm laughing again right now. No, not at all. If Jack Edwards, dressed to the nines, cannot meet the author on the carpet at a book award ceremony that he is emceeing, because the non-reading world believes that he's the internet's resident librarian, if he can't do that, then no. Then no, he does not try to read from as many eras as possible. But I was interested to see not only what the books were, and also to ask, just as a tangent, if you want me to go over that list as well, but also what his tally would be. I assumed from the beginning that he would not have read all 100, and he didn't. His tally was 56. And he said that if there was anybody out there who'd read more than 70, they would be a hero. They would be an amazing feature, a major creature or whatnot. I don't know what designation he would give to the people who've not only read all 100, but who've taught 20 of them. But we can go over that list on your own if you want to. You'll be interested in the list anyway. It's just all throughout the video, when he's talking about the books, 9 times out of 10, the thing that's going to pop into his mind, the reference that's going to pop into his mind, is going to be so-and-so who he sucked face with at a party, who's bringing out a new adaptation of it for some streaming service. It won't be, it's almost never... All right, okay. Let's move on. Let's move on to 2 fantasy tubers. I watched them. They are fiercely balkanized as a sub-community of BookTube. They do not want to mingle with outsiders, and they hate me. I was going to say except Jimmy Nuts, but he probably hates me more than any of them do. They may not hate me, but they have no interest in outsiders at all. I still watch their channels, even just because they're active readers, active and energetic readers. And I have 2 that I watched today so far. There could be others. One was Nerd Level Rising, where he talks about some recent reads of his and shows off some fantasy artwork. I loved what he was doing. I love the Jenny Wirtz love, for instance. I wanted to yell at the screen. In fact, I think I did yell at the screen. That no one can see anything that you're showing, and they should be able to. They should be able to. From the jump cuts in the video, I'm pretty sure that he edits his videos, so he could put pictures up on the screen. Instead, he's saying when he was doing his recent reads or his recent acquisitions, he was pulling paperbacks off a pile, Jenny Wirtz paperbacks off a pile, and saying, yeah, I got this. He's waving it around like this. Half the time you can't see what it is, and even when he shows it to the camera, it's 5 feet away from the camera. When you could put the cover up here. If you're editing the video anyway, you could put the cover up here. but it was still wonderful. And the other fantasy tuber was ISamwise, who's got a terrific channel. They both do. Almost all the fantasy channels that I watch are wonderful. Liminal Spaces had a video today. I think I didn't get to it because I think it went up. I think I didn't get it, put it on the list because I didn't get to it in time. But ISamwise talks about The Shadow of the Torturer by Gene Wolfe, and specifically the benefits of rereading such a complex book. And it's fascinating. He is such an articulate guy. It's just fascinating. Of course, I pined a little. Both him and Nerd Level Rising seem to be alluding to an epic live stream read-along of Shadow of the Torturer with Philip Chase and Tudor Ramble and Christopher Occhio. And, of course, I pined a little there. They would never have it. If some, Council of Gods told them, you can do this live stream, but Steve has to be on it, they'd all cancel. They wouldn't do it, no matter how much they were looking forward to it. And that's a little melancholy because I love the book. And also, I'd be willing to bet that I've had more in-person, easy-chair to easy-chair conversations with the author than any of them have. I'd be willing to bet that. But it's still wonderful to listen to. It's still, if you don't know Shadow of the Torturer, if you don't know, the New Sun books, you're still going to like it. ISamwise's video, you're still going to like it. It's amazing to listen to him as he goes over some of the nuances of the book that he is coming to get through rereading. It made me think, of course, of the big classic BookTube revisited subject of rereading and the value of rereading. Then there's William Gwynne, one of the brothers Gwynne and the son of Papa Gwynne, the fantasy author John Gwynne. He and his brother have a channel, and he also has a channel of his own. I saw his video, but I'm assuming there's also a Brothers Gwynne video that's coming up today, because they usually film them at the same time. But I saw a solo video of his in which he talks about the best books of the 2020s so far. Which is, again, like the list from Goodreads that Jack Edwards does. That's a fascinating idea to do. I'm tempted to do that myself. It's wonderful to listen to what he's been reading and what his candidates are. You have to remember, of course, you have to remind yourself when you go into his video that A, he's a uni student, so he doesn't have all the time in the world to read, and B, as he says himself, he basically reads 2 genres. Out of 50, he basically reads 2 genres. So in 4.5 years, he's probably generously read a total of 200 books. So his best books of 2020 are really they really are his best books of the 2020s, and not anything else. They don't even come close. They don't even approach being the best books of the 2020s, even in the two genres that he reads. Just have to keep in mind the limitations. Just like with Jack Edwards, when he's going over that list, he gets to Dune by Frank Herbert. He says that he doesn't like it all that much, that it's got major storytelling problems. And then what is the book that he mentions later on? There's some dumb YA science fiction novel that he sings its praises, says that it's absolutely perfect. It's a 6 out of 5. You just have to keep in mind, as with any of these lists, you have to keep in mind who the list maker is. That's all. And without condescension either. When there are several times in Jack Edwards' list where he comes across a book and an author and says flatly, I don't know anything about this. I've never heard about it. He was an English major at a college in England. So you might be tempted to say, well, that's appalling that you have never heard of it. Bad enough that you've never read it, but you've never heard about it. But we have to keep in mind not to do that. Any more than with William Gwynne, you would say, well, what kind of a best of the 2020s is that? It's a reflection of where they are in their reading life, and that's wonderful. That's fascinating on its own right. Let's see here. Books with Sam. I did a video about his reading week, kind of check-in thing that I love that usually happens on the weekends or on Monday. Same thing happened with Michael K. Vaughan. He put up a video today, films it bitterly early because he's the hardest working man on BookTube, about his weekly reading report that was just wonderful to watch. As always, his weekly reading reports are wonderful. In this one, he gave only average grades to The Ferguson Rifle by Louis L'Amour. Apparently, he's not the only one doing a little pre-Western reading for June on the Range. June on the Range is his BookTube event that celebrates reading Westerns. I myself seclude the reading of Westerns until just June on the Range. I don't read any Western new releases. I don't get them free from publishers. I'm not going to buy them. So I don't do any of that. And every time I get a hankering elsewhere in the year, I just save it for June on the Range. But I have heard from some of you guilty confessors, you know who you are, who are in the same position, that you really can't wait for the fun of summer. Fun of summer on BookTube. So Book Trek all summer long. Westerns in June. Classic old space alien science fiction in July. Garbage in August. Anyway, who else have we got here? Debs at Raynor Reads Stuff did a video. She did our TBRs Good. Is that what it's called? Our TBRs Fun tag in the book shed. And of course, it's a tag about TBRs, to be read. So the pile that you determine are the things you are going to read relatively soon. TBRs are not the books that are sitting on your shelf. A TBR is when you've loaded something up in the chamber. And she did the tag, but her thoughts about TBRs and how repressive they can sometimes be and how she doesn't like that. She's a rule breaker even when she herself is the one making the rules. That was wonderful. Her discussion of TBRs was wonderful. And I wonder how many notes it struck with you, how many notes in common it strikes with you. And then, okay, we can finish up, but we're not finishing up. This was just a couple of hours of BookTube where I was just taking notes as fast as I could. BookTube goes on. BookTube goes on. But we can finish up with Sarah, the Bookish Knitter, who did one of her daily category videos that are so great. Of course, she's our category romance queen here on BookTube. And there have been, I don't even know if she knows the number of category romances that are out there. I doubt she does. I doubt that anybody does. It's a vast number. And she just pick one off her shelf and talk about it, talk a little about the series, talk a little about the plot. Absolutely wonderful. And also a little bit of a nudge in the ribs to me to resume the Daily Penguin. A number of you said that on last night's live stream, and I do want to do that. I just haven't got to it yet. But anyway, there you go. That's not last week in BookTube. That's just today in BookTube, and that isn't even today in BookTube. It's this morning in BookTube. Because we are a chatty community. But anyway, I thought I'd do that better than anything. Better than nothing at all. I'll post this and I'll leave links to everything just so you can go and check it out at your leisure. And I'll be back. Thank you, BookTube.